Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Casual Coffee with Ken. My name is Ken. Thank you so much for joining me on this Tuesday morning. Yay! Congratulations, we made it to Tuesday. It's always a cause for celebration. I hope you are doing well. If you are new here to this show, what I do is I go out and try to find positive, interesting stories to share with you that you're not likely to see on most local and national network news. That news tends to be depressing a lot of the time, so I'm doing this really as much for my own mental health as for any other reason, but I really do hope that anybody who watches this either live or on the replay maybe learned something they didn't otherwise know, and maybe it made their day a little bit brighter. So anyway, that's who I am. I want to know who you are. If you are watching for the very first time, do me a favor and go ahead and say hi in the comments, because I do see those on here, and let me know where in the world you are watching from, because I love the internet. I love the fact that we're all so much closer together now more than ever before in history, and I'm really interested to know where my audience is, so it's fun for me. So I hope that you're having a good morning so far. I hope that Monday went okay, as good as a Monday can ever go for people. And yeah, let's see. I mean, Monday was Monday. Wasn't particularly interesting or exciting for us. We've been watching season 2 of Barry. I don't know if you are familiar with that show. That's on HBO most of the time, but it's been long enough that season 2 has finally made its way over to Hulu. It's good, but it is frustrating. It's very suspenseful, and it's really funny at times too. It's about a hitman who's trying to leave that life behind, but it is handled in a much different way than other movies and shows about that similar type of subject have been handled before. And I mean, notably Grosse Point Blank, which is a classic and one of our favorite movies. This is done very differently, and the brilliance of it is in large part due to the performances of Bill Hader, who's also one of the head writers and the producer of the show. And if you're familiar with Bill Hader and his body of work, not just from SNL, but from things like, now I'm drawing a blank, God, Trainwreck with Amy Schumer. Anyway, he's good. He's a good actor, and he just lights up the screen with his portrayal of Barry, the hitman who's trying to become an actor. He's great in it. Everybody that's cast in this show is really good with their parts. Henry Winkler is just Henry Winkler. He's awesome. He's fantastic. He's the Fonz, but not anymore. But so good. So very good. Anyway, so we're working our way through that. It's only 8 episodes, and I know this is going to make me sound weird, I have a hard time with shows that ratchet up the tension and suspense and keep it there for any length of time. So I tend to go through shows like that very slowly if I end up finishing them at all. Perfect example of that was the show back in the early 2000s that Karina and I started out loving, but by the end of the first season, we're like, nope, no more, can't do it. And it was called The Riches. I believe it was on FX network. Eddie Izzard, Minnie Driver, technically a good show, but the premise of it involves them, Minnie Driver and Eddie Izzard are a couple who assume the identities of people who are deceased, and they have kids that are doing this with them. part of the family. And in every episode, there's a lot of will they get caught today kind of tension. And it's always up there at like an 8 or a 9. And enough of the characters did stupid things enough times to where it was just too much. So we didn't end up finishing it. I mean, like I said, we made it through season 1, but we never watched season 2, and there wasn't a season 3 from what I recall. So yeah, anyway, we're going to make it through Barry because we're just going to do it 1 episode a night. And there's only 8, so we will get through this. It really is a good show. So I'm trying to force my way through it. You should check it out if you haven't. Start with season 1, obviously, but it's quite good, quite funny, quite dramatic, just beautiful writing and acting performances throughout the whole thing. So that's my 2 cents on that. And might as well segue into my tea of the day since you're watching me drink it. And this is my favorite. They're all my favorite. I can't say I have a favorite anymore, but it's from David's Tea. And we just recently restocked our tea supply. And I've been waiting for this to come back in to our kitchen. So happy it's back. It is strawberry rhubarb parfait. And it is a delight. It is wonderful. It is tart, just like the description says. It's tart and sweet. The hint of creaminess is probably due to, I think they put some vanilla in there. Oh, it's the yogurt bits. That's what it is that give it that creaminess. Citric acid gives it the tang. It does taste of strawberry. Rhubarb, if you ask me to tell you what rhubarb tastes like, I don't know that I can, because I've only ever had rhubarb in conjunction with strawberry in pie and now in this tea. So it probably tastes like rhubarb, but it's very good. And as you can see, okay, if you look at the picture here, that looks pretty good. But you might be thinking, yeah, nothing's really that red, that colorful, that isn't outright punch. Well, this tea, honestly, look at that. Look at how red that is. It is gorgeous. It's like drinking Kool-Aid or something. But it's just delicious. Absolutely perfect. I love it. It's great. If you haven't checked out David's Tea, they are not a sponsor of this show. Wish they were, but they are good. The advantage their tea has over a lot of loose leaf tea purveyors is that you don't have to use a lot of the tea to brew a very flavorful cup of tea. So even though it might cost a little more, it lasts a pretty good long time compared to other brands of tea that we've tried. Man, love it. Oh my God, that's so good. Anyway, the positive stories for today. Let's see. This is pretty cool. So California is doing a lot of interesting things during the pandemic. And one of the measures they're enacting that I'm particularly curious about, it's a partnership using FEMA funding. And the money is going to go to restaurants that agree to provide 3 meals a day to seniors. And so that's 21 meals a week per senior. And FEMA is going to cover 75% of the cost of the meals. And then California will pick up most of the remaining costs, and restaurants would be reimbursed for their costs to the tune of $16 for breakfasts, $17 for lunches, and up to $28 for dinners. And this is apparently, California is the only state doing any kind of programming like this. So what they're hoping is that this money will go towards rehiring people at these restaurants so that they can start preparing and delivering these meals to seniors all throughout the state of California. And the governor has said that he will provide, quote, an unlimited number of meals with no cap in terms of that support. So, yeah, that's an exciting program. That's fantastic. I love it. I love that idea. Good morning, Sean. How are you? Hope you're doing well today. So that's a brilliant use of those FEMA funds, I think. Seniors definitely need the help. And yeah, I would love to see more states take up this idea and run with it. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. It's so good. Tea is amazing. And okay, next in the news is Belgium. It's a fun country name, Belgium. I've been to Belgium. I was there for half a day and tried Belgian waffles. They were okay. I don't believe the Belgian waffle is actually from Belgium. Could be wrong. So the Belgian Prime Minister has decreed that every Belgian citizen will receive a free face mask as part of the exit strategy from their lockdown. So they're planning on what businesses will be allowed to reopen, and they're trying to figure out how quickly to do this. Apparently, haberdasheries and fabric stores are going to be the first kind of businesses to reopen in Belgium. And they will reopen on May 4th, and other businesses will have to wait until the 11th of May. And in a move that I think is only common sense, but still very smart, and that other countries, including our own, really need to follow suit on, is that from May 4th, the use of protective masks will become mandatory on public transport for everybody above the age of 12. And I think that is exactly correct. We don't have a vaccine for this. We're not going to have a vaccine for this. At the earliest would be next summer. That's being really generous with the timing. Most likely, we won't have a vaccine for COVID until 18 months from now. So the fact that the government over there in Belgium recognizes that fact and recognizes the best way to keep people safe is to mandate that they use protective masks on public transportation, I think is a huge step in the right direction. On other aspects, I guess internal travel is going to set to restart on May 18th. And then on May 18th, school classes will resume as well. But there is a cap on the maximum number of students per class. 10 students per class. I don't know how they're going to do that. We certainly wouldn't be able to do that here in the United States. 10 students per class. We couldn't emulate that here. So I don't know what the answer is, although maybe just remote schooling will become more of a permanent thing. Because we could not do that. And good morning, Hodgepodge. I don't see many here wearing masks. Yeah, it depends on where I go, honestly. When I was at I went shopping, grocery shopping this weekend at Rayleigh's, and every single employee at Rayleigh's was wearing a mask. Some of them were wearing gloves. I think the ones that were actually stocking shelves, uh, not the shelves, but produce, were wearing gloves. But every single employee had a mask. And of course, they have the sneeze shields, right, at the checkout. And I would say, and I wasn't actually counting or anything, but I would say of the customers I saw inside Rayleigh's, probably 75% of them had masks on. Might even be more than that. So, and that makes me feel good. That, at least in my own personal experience out in the world, when I'm seeing people, the majority of people I'm seeing are actually taking this fairly seriously and using masks. Beauty Shop said they will, but not many in the grocery last night. Yeah, some people are just kind of throwing caution to the wind. And I mean, it's up to you what you want to do. It's your health. You've got to, I guess, decide for yourself if you're going to roll those dice. I just feel bad for people who know those people and who might be exposed to the virus through no fault of their own, but just because they happen to cohabitate with the people who aren't taking it as seriously as others. So I don't know. I know it's a touchy subject, but it's just such a strange time for everybody. If I'm in close places, I will, but not outside. Yeah, it depends on how long I'm going to be outside and where outside I'm going to be. Like if I was going to go, if like one of our outdoor malls reopened, I would definitely, excuse me, I would definitely wear a mask even outside, because again, people walking by and such. But and then it would be a real pain in the butt to have to take it off and then put it back on whenever I went into a store, and then take it back off when I went outside, and then walk 10 feet and then put it back on to go back into a store. So in that kind of situation, I think just because I am lazy, I would just wear it and not bother with taking it off. But it's a strange time. So I'm really interested to see how this works in California. I would really be, oh yeah, that was the last story. I'm sorry. I'm really interested to see how this is going to play out in Belgium with their cautious reopening. And a lot of this is just, you can plan, but since this is really unprecedented, I can talk today, in modern human history, everyone's kind of just winging it. They're trying to use scientific best practices to make this as doable and as safe as possible, but at the end of the day, this is all uncharted territory for everybody. So kind of weird stuff, but it's nice to see that there are precautions being taken even as they try to reopen up their country. So that's pretty cool. Now, this next one has absolutely nothing to do with COVID, but it does have to do with science and medicine, which is one of my favorite things. I was very excited to read this. Normally, if you have any kind of brain injury or spinal cord injury that results in paralysis, for most people, that's it. You're kind of done. You're just paralyzed. You do hear about the odd one or two people that manage to regain some movement. But for most people, if you're paralyzed, you're paralyzed. Uh, there is there's a company that has had an incredible breakthrough using implants that can restore not only motion in formerly paralyzed limbs, but feeling. And that is so amazing to me. That is so cool. So I wanted to share it with you guys. So it's by a company named Patel, and they have developed this technology that allows patients to regain conscious control of their fingers, hand, and wrist. So this bypass technology that they're using, these implants, apparently somehow skips damaged areas of the nervous system. So by doing that, it allows the brain to still communicate directly with muscles, which is amazing. So they've had the clinical trials, and one participant in there was able to pick up and hold a spoon just by thinking about it. And then after 2 years into the trial, the clinical trial, their level of function progressed to picking up and transferring objects, stirring liquids, swiping a credit card, and even playing a guitar video game. So this is amazing. What they ended up doing, and this is a pretty long article, so I'm not going to just read the whole thing to you, but they implanted a 4x4 millimeter chip within the motor cortex area of the participant's brain, and that's the area responsible for voluntary movement. And the chip picks up the electrical signals, transmits that data to a computer, which uses Patel's decoding software, and then that information is then passed on to an arm cuff, which contains electrodes that stimulate the muscles to cause specific movements. This is some next level stuff here. This is amazing to me that that they're doing this kind of research. And I wish, and I realize that the news cycle is dominated by the coronavirus. Part of that has to do, I think, with money. Honestly, it's ad revenue driven by dire news. I wish stuff like this was getting more press, because this is a huge development, especially with anybody who has paralysis issues. Now, I don't know if they're only saying that it works with the arm because that's the participant they had paralysis in their arm, or if this would work on other parts of the body as well. But yeah, it's amazing to me. It reminds me of the prosthetics story you shared a few weeks ago. Yeah, there's some amazing stuff being done in this. This is so next level for me because of the fact that you're implanting something in the brain, and then you're using software to decode signals, impulses from the brain into commands that through the brace, I guess, on the arm force the movements. But even more important to me is the fact that it can restore feeling to those paralyzed areas. That's amazing. I love it. I love everything about this. I love science. I'm not good at science, but I love it, and I love the things that it can do for us in the medical arena, and just improving life and quality of life for people who really need that. And it's beautiful. I love it. And, you know, the scientists and researchers who develop this kind of stuff don't get NFL-sized salaries. They are not as famous as the Kardashians, but they are doing amazing things, and I feel that it's my duty to share that with the 5 people that watch me, but in the hopes that maybe more people will eventually learn about this kind of thing, because this stuff is amazing to me, and it's important, and it's life-changing for a lot of people. So anyway, I don't know how I get off on these tangents. Holy smokes, it's 9:57. Okay. So I'll save that one for tomorrow. And then for the last story today, this is a follow-up to one I did last week before, that 99-year-old captain over in England who raised an amazing amount of money for the National Health Service charities by walking around his yard. He's had his 100th birthday, and the final total of the amount that he raised was more than 29 million pounds. But that's not why I'm talking about him again. He ended up getting a few birthday cards wishing him a very healthy 100th birthday. 125,000 birthday cards, to be exact. His grandson, Benji, has asked his school for help in storing and displaying them, because of course they couldn't put them all in an apartment. And of those 125,000 birthday cards were cards from the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, Dame Kelly Holmes, and I guess a famous England football captain named Harry Kane. I don't know who he is, but I'm sure the English do. So, yeah, all of the cards are being kept and displayed at the school where Captain Tom's grandson goes. And here's a picture of the cards. Look at all of those. Wow. That's just mind-boggling to me. And the icing on the cake of this wonderful story is the fact that a lot of people donated money in the cards. So another 60,000 pounds was raised just from that, just from the money that was in the birthday cards. So this whole thing just makes my heart smile, and I love it. I love everything about it, and I hope you liked it too. So, and that's it. I will stop rambling at you, and I will stop saying so for the day. I really need to break myself of that habit. Remember, go to David's Tea, check out the strawberry rhubarb parfait tea. It's amazing. So good. Do me a favor, if you liked today's show, if you had fun today, share it with your friends. It does stay up as a video link after the live show ends. Share that link with your friends. Let them know that they have an option, if they want it, in the morning for a live interaction with someone who's just trying to, make the morning a little better for people. And yeah, I appreciate you. I appreciate all of you who do watch, whether it's live or on the replay. So with that, I will see you all tomorrow at 9:30 Pacific time. I'm going to let you know right now that there will not be a show on Friday, because I do have something that I have previously scheduled to do that morning. But I will be back tomorrow and Thursday, so I will see you right here tomorrow at 9:30 Pacific. And until then, I'm Ken. Remember, be kind to yourself and be kind to others, because now more than ever, kindness matters. All right, take care, everybody, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.